would be the best advice to new creators? I think the best advice to new creators is to try to find something that you can do consistently. I spent a lot of my early career trying to like invent the thing that would be a huge win on the first try. So I would try to throw together a contest, or I would try to throw together the ultimate blog post, or I would illustrate my blogs. And these was really high touch, high effort things. And my goal was always, I'm going to do something so remarkable that it will go viral. And then I will be popular enough that I'll have the time to do this level of effort every time. And of course that doesn't work. The likelihood that you go viral is very, very, very small. There are a lot of people trying to create content on the internet. There are a lot of people who are trying to make a splash. And even if your content lands, the idea that it'll go beyond like 1,000 or so people is reasonably low, especially if you're not a consistent creator. So if you're, you go dark for 4 months and then you launch something and you're like, this is the thing. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I think I've seen this person's content before. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's neat. They like it. And then they move on with their day. So I did this for a long time, and I was always sort of like skimming along where like I did okay. And I'd hit these periods where I'd be really consistent for 3 months and I would see growth. Like people were subscribing to the newsletter and people were sharing my stuff on Twitter. And then I was like, okay, all right, now I got to make something real big. And then I would go heads down, I'd disappear. I'd get caught up in work and I'd stop creating or whatever it is. Each of those times, I thought what was doing it was like an individual piece. And I was waiting for the piece that would break through, because I would see posts by, at the time, Seth Godin, a list apart posts go. This is when Chris Coyier was really blowing up with CSS tricks. Smashing Magazine was like all over the place. And when I saw them get shared, I was just kind of like making the assumption that they were getting shared because that individual piece was so remarkable. And then I would write something and I was like, this piece is definitely as good as this piece that I saw on Smashing Magazine. And nobody would share it. Like a couple people would share it. So I started to like question my, like, what is it? Am I bad at this or what? And then I started thinking about like, what is it that a Smashing Magazine or a CSS Tricks is doing that I'm not? And I think the answer was the one I didn't want to hear, which is that they published every day. Right? They were publishing consistently, and most of their posts were decent quality. There were very few stinkers in the catalog of like a CSS Tricks or a Smashing. Some of them were just okay. Some of them were outstanding. And what I was missing was that for every outstanding CSS Tricks post that would get shared and go to the front page of Hacker News and the front page of Dig and wherever else, things would go viral, there were 10 or 15 that just got published quietly. And people would see it, and the people who were interested in that particular thing would share it and talk about it. But what they learned was that CSS Tricks was always going to have something. They were going to be useful. There was always going to be something coming from Chris that you wanted to see. I was not doing that. I was trying to like hit home runs every time. I was not publishing unless I was positive it was perfect. And that prevented me from getting things out there, and it prevented me from building any momentum, and it prevented people from remembering who the heck I was, because the internet's noisy. Like, who sees content? When we look around on Twitter and stuff, we're following hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people, and all of those people are sharing their content and other people's content into our timelines. How many times do I need to see something from a new creator before I think to myself, oh, this person is a pretty consistent creator, like I should pay attention to them? I will read an article, and when I read that article, I think this is a good article. If I see 15 posts, 7, maybe, like 10-ish posts from somebody, I start to think, oh, this person's like really, really putting the work in, right? A really good recent example of this is Matt Pocock. Or another great example is like Cassie Evans on the GSAP team. They came out hard, like Matt is posting constantly. Cassie is posting constantly. And there's always something new to see. There's always something new to read. And like, you may not be into everything that they post, but every once in a while, they're going to post one that's good. And because you've seen their stuff a bunch, you're more likely to say, wow, this is a great post from Matt. And he gets a few more thumbs up, a few more likes, a few more shares. And I think the other thing that really comes from that is that because there's a rhythm, I don't think that Matt is trying to like break inertia to post. I think that Matt has already been posting so much that he's kind of got a flow. He's got some ideas. He's got templates he can use. And if you watch him, you'll see that he's got a little bit of a script every single time. And he's got kind of a format for how he does these things. He's got templates for how he lays out his vertical videos versus his YouTube videos. And each of those things is a thing that reduces friction for him to post. And it makes the content more familiar for people who are watching to not have to determine whether or not this is good. They've seen this format before. They know they liked it last time. They're likely to watch it again and enjoy it this time because they like Matt, right? Same with Cassie, same with so many other creators in the space who are consistent. My biggest advice to any creator is to really steer into finding a consistent format that you can keep up with. And then don't get discouraged if individual pieces don't do what you want. Look at trends over time. Like I'll give you an example. I post on YouTube and I post an episode with a guest once a week. And I'm trying to get better at posting a different type of content every week. Over time, over the last year, I have grown 24% year over year in subscribers. On a day-to-day basis, that's like a couple subscribers, right? It's not like big numbers. I'm not seeing any hockey stick puck growth. I'm not a like breakout content creator where I've seen exponential growth in views or subscribers or anything like that. I have been consistently making Learn with Jason since 2018. I've made 320 something episodes at this point, and each one of those was a little bit better than the one before it. And each one of those follows a format that I've been refining for the last almost 5 years now. So that is, I think, the trick that a lot of people are missing is like they look at it like, I'll do this 5 times and then I'll be famous. And I don't think that's how it works. I think you got to make 100. You got to make 200. Like look at how many pieces of content has somebody really well known. Kent C. Dodds, Chris Coyer, Nicole Sullivan, Una Kravitz. How many pieces of content have they made? How many pieces of content has Sarah Drasner made over her career? How many of those have you actually read? I would wager that you've read a tiny fraction of everything they've actually created. But when you think of them as being a powerhouse creator. And that's because they're consistent, and it's because they build on formats that work for them. If you ask Sarah how she starts a blog post, I will bet you money that she has a few templates that she uses. And it may not be as formal as like she opens up a template doc and then fills in the blanks, but I bet she's got some like, oh yeah, I do a question style where it's like, here's the big question and here's the format that I use to answer it. Or I've got a thing I want to teach. Here's the big idea and here's the supporting arguments. And like there's always a template that you build. When I write any blog post, there's usually, 2 or 3 formats that I'm following in my head that I've tried over time and they work. And it's more obvious with video because if you look at Learn with Jason, I do Learn with Jason just about exactly the same every time. And you can even find things that I repeat verbatim every show. And part of that is because it just takes the burden off of me of trying to be brand new creative with every single piece of every single thing that I do. I want to put my creativity into the stuff that is interesting to me, not into reinventing the wheel of what is my content format every time that I go out and publish something.